What are the basic components of a resume? Generally speaking, there are three sections that employers expect to see on a resume: identifying information, education, and employment history. One common question we receive in the Writing Center is, should I include an objective section? Typically, the answer to this question is no. Objective sections can risk emphasizing what you want rather than what the employer is looking for. According to the US News article, 10 Things to Banish from Your Resume, resume objectives never help and often hurt. Not only do they feel antiquated, but they're all about what you want, rather than what this stage of the hiring process is all about, what the employer wants. Your resume should be about showing your experience, skills, and accomplishments. If you want to talk about how this particular position is the perfect next step in your career, use the cover letter for that. However, if you are concerned about whether an objective section is appropriate on your resume, ask someone in your field or major if objectives are commonly used. Depending on your own experiences and background, you may also choose to include these additional components on your resume. You should decide whether to include these sections based on two questions. First, which categories are relevant to the job description that you are using? Second, which categories would help you to demonstrate your strengths and help you to stand out? For example, speaking multiple languages is likely to be useful in multiple positions and can help you to stand out from other applicants. Let's start by looking at identifying information. This is an example from Lance Kareem's resume. Lance has included his full name, his address, his phone number, and his email address. Typically, you should include the address where you receive mail and the phone number where you can be most easily reached. You may also decide to include both a home and school address if you are applying to a job in your hometown or you want the employer to know you have connections to an area. Next, let's look at the education section. Here in his education section, Lance has included the name of his major, and you should also include minors in this section, the name and location of your university, in our case, West Liberty University in West Liberty, West Virginia, the date of graduation. This can also be listed as anticipated, your GPA, which is optional. Many students ask whether they need to include their GPA. It's up to you, but keep in mind that if you do not include your GPA, it could be a red flag to employers. If you are concerned about your GPA being low, you can list it as a GPA in a major or a GPA over the last 2 years, as long as you clearly label how you have calculated the number. Next, let's look at the work experience section. This section is typically organized by position. For each position you should include the title of the position, the name of the employer, the time span during which you held that position, and a description of tasks and responsibilities beginning with strong action verbs. Here we can see how a bulleted list with each point beginning with an action verb increases skimmability for your reader. Note how these verbs are in present tense because this individual currently holds these positions. If the individual had moved on from the position, the verb should be in past tense. Here are a few examples of additional categories you might also include on your resume depending on your experiences and qualifications. This individual has included a relevant coursework section and a leadership experience section that is organized similarly to his work experience section. Here we can see how this individual has included a section highlighting her experience with different types of software and her experience with human-computer interaction methods.